All right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host Jake Ellenbogen, and we are coming to you live tonight to preview our upcoming matchup against the Detroit Lions in Los Angeles. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because Jake's got to run to another roundtable, but we are going to unpack as much as we can about this upcoming matchup against Detroit because, as everyone knows, there's some history here. Jake, between these two teams, they're going to kind of forever be intertwined because of the Stafford Goff trade. So there's always that narrative there. There's always that story there. We've played them a couple times, since that trade. One time was a playoff game, which unfortunately the Rams lost. So there's a lot of energy, either positive or negative, depending on who you talk to, about this upcoming matchup against Detroit. But something that is really important to point out about this, Jake, is that for the Rams, it's win and you're in. If the Rams win against Detroit on Sunday, they are in the playoffs. They're guaranteed a spot. So there's a lot on the line for this game. Also, the Lions are an NFC team who are trying to potentially, fight for a wild card spot. So there's seeding involved. Just a lot going on. But Jake, what is your overall vibe going into this game on Sunday against Detroit?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like games past when, you saw the Rams going into Detroit and it's like, I feel like we're going to win this game. And it was kind of like not really a totally a popular feeling because it was a very 50-50 matchup. This one feels heavily Rams. I mean, you look at the injuries, of course, Brian Branch, unfortunately, suffering a season ending Achilles injury. Kirby Joseph has been dealing with some injuries. You got Terrion Arnold out for the year. So it's like, the Lions are pretty banged up in the secondary right now, and just they haven't looked like the Lions of old since Ben Johnson left. So it feels very Rams heavy favorite in this one. And by the way, I don't know if anybody knows this, but the last time the Rams lost a home game against the Lions, you have to go back to 1993 when they beat the Los Angeles Rams 16-13. The St. Louis Rams were 2-0 against the Lions. 21-14 in 2015, beating Matthew Stafford, and they won in 2006, 41-34. So it's interesting because, their last 5 meetings, the Rams have lost 3 of them, one of which was when Stafford was the quarterback in Detroit in 2016. But they haven't really had success going out and playing the Rams, in LA or in St. Louis. So it'll be interesting how this thing goes down, but I feel very good about the Rams going into this one.
I do too. And let's talk about kind of the talent between these two teams. Jake, looking at Detroit, they have, in my opinion, the best running back in the league, Gibbs. I think that he is fantastic. When you watch him, it is hard to believe some of the things that he does. I don't think he's a very similar player to Saquon Barkley, but kind of that presence, right? Of not Saquon Barkley this season, but in seasons past. Gibbs is just an absolute game changer for the Detroit Lions. So when I'm looking at this offense, I think that is priority number one is can you shut him down because he can do a little bit of everything. He is Goff's biggest weapon by far, in my opinion, but they also have another really good running back in David Montgomery, right? So they've got kind of this 1-2 punch at running back that you kind of have to prepare for, in my opinion. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been injured. We'll see what the deal is Sunday. I haven't heard much about him. There might have been news that has come out. So let me know if you've heard that, but I haven't really heard much about him. From what I can see, he's expected to play on Sunday. You've got Jamison Williams, who's a really kind of like fun gadget receiver for Detroit. Another guy who's like a speedster and can kind of do everything. And I feel like he's pretty much come into his own. They've had some injuries though at tight end. Laporta is out. So we won't be playing against him on Sunday. Jake, looking at this Detroit Lions offense, what do you think is the key for our defense to shut down? Because in my opinion, I think if you can put pressure on Jared Goff, he will turn the ball over. We know Jared Goff. We're very familiar with him. I think it's the same story as it always is with him. So I suspect that they are going to try to get Gibbs going, get Montgomery going, see what they can do there, and then see if we can force Goff to throw the ball. But what do you think the game plan is going to be against Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get after Jared Goff, right? You have to turn him into an accordion or whatever. You have to fold him. And if you fold him, he will fold in general. And that's the thing, is that Jared Goff has really struggled against pressure. And that's always been his kind of moniker. I mean, if you can get pressure on Jared Goff, he becomes about as ordinary of a quarterback as it gets. I mean, when he's under pressure, it's not great. Jared Goff this year has a 63 passer rating when under pressure. To kind of explain the difference between, say, a Drake May, he'd have an 88.9. Matthew Stafford has an 80.6. These are really good numbers. Daniel Jones actually led the entire NFL in passer rating while under pressure at 100.4. Justin Fields was second, by the way, at 95.3. So really what I'm getting at here is Jared Goff is one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. He struggles as much as Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Geno Smith. I mean, he struggles. So if you can get after Jared Goff and you can force him, to make mistakes, the Rams will capitalize on. This is a team that's, forcing a lot of turnovers this year. They're taking the football away. I think the Lions, the best way for them to attack the Rams defense is to give Goff a simple game plan. Get rid of the ball as quick as possible. The Rams have been allowing that. They allowed it with Jacoby Brissett. They allow it just in general, because while they dish out a lot of pressure, they haven't been finishing with the sacks. And you know me, I've never been a sacks over pressure guy, but at some point you have to be able to finish. The Rams haven't had one of those games where you had like 8 or 9 sacks like it seems like Denver gets all the time, right? So that's something that the Rams have to do. They have to finish. They have to get after him. And if you do pressure Goff, though, that's the beauty about playing Jared Goff. He's not Jacoby Brissett. He's not going to stay on his feet and make a bunch of plays. He's not Bryce Young. He's going to throw that thing in the dirt, and that's going to be an incomplete pass, and you're on to the next down, or he's going to turn it over. So, Alexis, I totally agree. And then, of course, keep doing what you're doing against the run. I think the two keys in this one for the defense, getting after Jared Goff, making him uncomfortable, and not allowing the big explosive play. I don't care if it's through the air. They'll give up those, and I don't care. But you cannot allow a big explosive play to Jahmyr Gibbs. You already know what he does, and you've done a damn good job at defending the run this year. You can't let this be the first time all year you can't stop the run. Well,
I agree.
The Panthers game, I understand they couldn't stop the run then, but this at SoFi Stadium, there is no excuse. You stop Barkley in Philly, you stopped Jonathan Taylor, can't allow it.
Yeah. No, you've got to stop Jahmyr Gibbs, as you said. I think, that's the X factor for Detroit every game, but I think especially this game, they're going to try to lean on him heavily to see if they can get something going on the ground. So I agree. I think we're on the same page of what the defense needs to do. And again, just make Goff uncomfortable. I really think that they're going to be able to do that. If that starts to happen, I think things are going to unravel for Detroit. Offensively, as I mentioned, they've got injuries at the tight end position. Brock Wright is also out, which I didn't even realize until somebody just said in the comments, but I guess he's now out. So, I really think that they're going to rely on guys like Gibbs and Williams, and I think we just have to put the pressure on Jared Goff. But Jake, flipping the script and now looking at us offensively.
And the key, you got to get pressure on him naturally. You can't blitz him because Goff is good against the blitz.
Yeah.
So that's the thing the Rams have been able to do in the past against Jared Goff. I expect they'll do it in this one.
Somebody in the comments said, wasn't Jared Verse's first sack in the NFL on Jared Goff? I don't remember.
It was.
it? Interesting.
It was Sunday Night Football, the game that they should have won. They ran out of gas.
That's right.
And
That's right. Well, hey, maybe he can get another sack on him, a couple sacks maybe this Sunday. But Jake, looking at our offense against this Detroit defense, we found, so again, I understand everyone's like, oh, well, it was the Cardinals. I understand. We're not naive. I understand that we played against the Arizona Cardinals last Sunday, but regardless, our offense looked really good after a game where they looked pretty poor at times against the Carolina Panthers. I thought that they had a really good get-right game, Jake. I felt like everything was flowing smoothly. We got the run game involved. pretty heavily, against Arizona. And then, Puka Nakua is Puka Nakua. He's the best receiver in the NFL. People can argue with a wall. I don't care. He is. Everything seemed to be working in the Rams' favor offensively against Arizona last Sunday. So going against Detroit, Jake, do you think that they're going to go with that similar game plan of a more balanced attack with both the run and the pass? Or do you think they're going to target kind of this banged up Detroit secondary? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of 13 in this game. Really force them to have to make plays. And then, what I really expect is that the Rams are going to continue to run the football. I know that sounds crazy because Sean McVay goes away from it. We just saw, right? Stafford threw for 288. He was still able to get to 288 and 3 touchdowns, right? But at the same time, you still have to be able to run the football, and they could not stop the run. So both can work. I honestly am starting to believe this is the most well-oiled machine running game in the league, and it's not necessarily Kyren Williams and Blake Corum doing it. I think they both deserve credit. I'm a huge Kyren Williams fan, but I actually take a step back. I've seen you starting to tweet about this. This offensive line needs more credit. They are the best run-blocking offensive line in football, and they're just a well-oiled machine. I believe if you put Jarquez Hunter out there, he could get 100 yards behind this offensive line. It's nothing against Corum. It's nothing against Kyren, but they're essentially firing on all cylinders. So I assume that they're going to continue to run the football, and then I think it's going to open up the 13 or, 13, 12 personnel, whatever you have there. But I think, this is going to be a balanced attack, and the Rams have enough in the arsenal there where if the Lions do move up and down the field and they're able to score in this game, because we are going to see fourth downs. That is going to dictate this game. Dan Campbell's going to go for on fourth down. That's the big thing. So if this is a close game, expect Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay to lean on the passing attack. But I expect this to be a lead that they have throughout the entirety of the game, and I think they're going to stay balanced, and I think they're going to win because of the balanced attack.
I agree. I think a balanced attack is the right approach. And you bring up a good point about the offensive line, because, in recent years, we've had a lot of ups and downs with this offensive line for the Rams, and, depth has been an issue. And it's just been really, really awesome to see how well this offensive line is playing. I mean, they're so cohesive. And again, as you mentioned, not taking away from what Kyren and Blake did on Sunday, but I mean, that offensive line, as you said, was like perfect. I mean, the run blocking, you cannot ask for more. And something I also want to shout out is our receivers in the run game, also very underrated. I mean, you look at like Jordan Whittington, and even Mumfield was out there throwing some good blocks, for our running backs. So like that, I think, has been a huge game changer for this offense as well. But I agree with you. I think they should do a balanced attack. I would not be surprised either if they start to lean on the pass, just because I think that Stafford's going to be able to throw it on this Detroit defense if his protection holds up. So we'll see. I'm not, they've got obviously some great edge rushers in Detroit, but I think that, that secondary could be a liability for them if the Rams get hot and start doing what we know they can do on Sunday. So, Jake, we've given kind of a quick overview. We've got about 9 minutes left that we can record. Do we want to speed round predictions, or do we just want to talk about the score?
Yeah, by the way, Detroit's given up the second most passing yards last 4 weeks, so I wouldn't be surprised, to your point, if they throw it all over the yard.
I think they will try.
Let's get 4 bold predictions. We'll stick with it, but they got to be quick. So, you want to go first, or you want me?
You go first.
Okay. Matthew Stafford's throwing 4 touchdowns when I'm out there this Sunday. Okay. Feel very good about that. Kyren Williams and Blake Corum are going to combine for over 100, and I'm going to say 200. I'm going to say they both go over 200 yards. They're now an entity, apparently. And then Jared Goff's going to get sacked 5 plus times in this game. And there's going to be 1 interception, and it's going to be Cameron Kinchins coming down with it. Those are my 4.
So my first prediction is Jared versus 2 sacks. I feel good about that. I feel like he's heating up. My second prediction is I was going to do rushing yards, but you did that, so I'll do something else. So you know what? I'll say Kyron Williams 2 touchdowns because that playoff game against Detroit, he got done pretty dirty. If you guys remember, he took some bad hits in that game, ended up
Illegal hits,
breaking
yeah.
his illegal hits, ended up breaking his forearm, I believe, or his wrist. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm going to say Kyron Williams, 2 plus touchdowns. I'm going to say Puka Nacua goes over 100 yards receiving. And then I'll do another defensive. I'm going to say Nate Landman interception.
Okay, I like it. Another one. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
How's that, guys, for speed round?
We're killing it. We're doing the
We're
hurry up.
killing
The
it.
hurry up offense. We're just
Yep.
going to call that
Hurry
this
up
podcast.
offense. All right, Jake.
Final score. Do you want to go or do you want me?
Yeah, you can go.
I'm going to go 34-24 Rams. I think that they control the game, and I'm going to go 35-24 Rams. I think it's an even 5 touchdowns in this one for the Rams. So no field goals, just 5 touchdowns. Rams win 35-24.
I have 31-24 Rams, so similar-ish. Yeah, I feel good about the Rams going into this. I think that the Rams are, in a good rhythm right now. I mean, obviously Carolina was bad, but I think that could have been a wake-up call for them. And I also think just watching this Detroit team, they have, for some reasons out of their control due to injury, but also just in general, they have not always played that well. They've been very up and down the past couple of weeks. And I think if the Rams are able to get in there and kind of stop Gibbs, I think Gibbs is the factor for Detroit. I think if you could shut him down, I don't think that Detroit's going to be able to do anything. So I feel good. I feel like the Rams are going to get a win at home.
I do too. So pretty big stuff there. 35-24 for me. And I think, by the way, you just missed getting it right. I know you were going to go with 45 points against the Cardinals. Rams put a spanking on them. Good Lord. I did not expect that. That was fun. Yeah, that's all we got. I mean, do you have any final thoughts or anything?
I don't. Just I think we have a couple supers if we have
Oh, yes.
time.
And of course we have an ad read, so appreciate you
Yeah.
reminding me on that. Melissa, thank you for the 5. Hey guys, I know it's
Thank
crazy
you,
to ask, but I
Melissa.
can't help the excitement knowing we may have a top 10 pick. What positions do you think we target / who? Thanks. Appreciate the super. I don't believe it's going to be a quarterback. I don't believe it's going to be. I think they're going to go best player available. And to be honest with you, I was going to say Jeremiah Love, but now the way Blake Corum's running, I don't necessarily think they go in that direction. So, you know what? Maybe they do go after a tackle just to give him some depth. Alec Jackson's kind of a question mark because those blood clots have now happened twice, right? So I feel good about Warren McClendon Jr. at right tackle. Maybe they go after a corner. I don't know, Alexis. What do you think?
Thank you for the super. And I think they're going to go offensive tackle, and if they keep 2 first-round picks, I think offensive tackle and corner is where I'm leaning right now.
I think they could even go wide receiver or tight end. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go after Lemon from USC or something. And I think it could also depend on what Devontae Adams does. Although I personally think him and Stafford come back, but that's just me.
I do too. I think Stafford stays not just next year. I think he stays another 3 years. That's my bold prediction.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, guys, we had a shorter episode tonight because there was some tech issues that were not caused by me.
They were
let
not
the world
Alexis'
know.
fault, and I'm not going to say for
Nope.
once because I've had plenty of tech issues too, and partner doesn't throw a
Recently,
partner
yeah.
under the bus. So I'll never do
Yeah.
that. If you've noticed,
Yeah.
I'll never do that.
I did throw Jake under the bus though, because people have been on me about last week. And I
They
just
called
wanted
me
them
Jake
to
the
know that
Flake.
yeah. So it's all right. There was some tech issues tonight, and then also Jake has a roundtable. So this was this is the shortest episode of Downtown Rams we have ever done. But I
This is an
think that
accomplishment.
hopefully, yeah, I think that we did a very nice speed round, hopefully as best as we could. Appreciate everybody who tuned in live, everybody who's listening on audio. This is going to be a shorter episode than usual, guys. But we appreciate you sticking around and tuning in. As always, you can follow us on social media at Downtown Rams. You can follow me on Twitter/X at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK Bogan. You can also follow me on Instagram at Alexis Craft, Jake at JK Bogan. Before we head out, Jake, ad read.
Thank you. Good Lord. I forget everything in my life. Thank you, Sleeper, for sponsoring today's show. Be sure to check out Sleeper. The link is in the description below. Get a 100% bonus match up to $100 using my code JKB. That's right. My code JKB will get you a 100% match up to $100. Use the $20 free entry. It's right there. No deposit needed if you haven't already used it. And again, you can find that link in the description below. We are on out of here. So,
yep.
That's
all right,
it.
Guys. That's going to do it for us. As always, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.